She crossed the forbidden line, mocked the royal guard, and treated a symbol of tradition like her personal joke. But when the guard finally moved, his calm yet commanding response left everyone speechless. What happened next changed the tone of the entire day. Let's begin. It was a crisp morning at Buckingham Palace, the kind of day where tourists flock to witness the grandeur of the royal guards. Among the disciplined soldiers, one guard stood immobile, his red tunic gleaming in the sunlight. He was the epitome of tradition and duty. In the bustling crowd, a brash tourist emerged, a young woman wearing a garish outfit and holding her phone like a weapon. She smirked as she approached the guard, crossing the white boundary line that symbolized respect for the post. "Hey, statue man," she taunted, waving her phone close to his face. "Can't you even blink? What happens if I do this?" With a dramatic laugh, she mimicked touching his bearskin hat, though she stopped just short. The crowd murmured, some laughing nervously, others clearly uneasy. The guard remained perfectly still, his stoicism a stark contrast to the woman's mockery. Her antics only escalated as she started snapping selfies, her grin as wide as her disregard for tradition. Encouraged by the crowd's growing attention, the tourist became bolder. She stepped further past the white line, her voice growing louder with each taunt. "Come on, show us you're human," she said, holding her phone up for a live stream. "What's the point of being here if you're just gonna stand like a mannequin?" A child nearby tugged at his mother's hand, whispering, "Why is she being so mean?" The mother shook her head, trying to shield him from the scene. The woman's final act of defiance came when she began imitating the guard's posture, standing stiffly and pretending to salute. "Look at me! I'm a royal guard now!" she shouted, her mockery drawing laughs from some and gasps from others. Suddenly, her foot caught on the uneven cobblestone, and she stumbled forward, nearly colliding with the guard. The tension in the air was electric, the crowd waiting to see if the soldier would react. Instead, he simply took a small step back, maintaining his unwavering composure. As the woman struggled to regain her balance, her phone slipped from her hand, clattering loudly on the ground. The crowd gasped as the screen shattered, her once smug expression replaced by one of shock and embarrassment. "You owe me a new phone," she snapped at the guard, as if blaming him for her own carelessness. The guard remained silent, his gaze fixed ahead. Just then, a small child stepped forward, picking up the pieces of her broken phone. "Here," he said quietly, holding the fragments out to her. The woman snatched them from the boy's hands, muttering something under her breath. But the crowd's focus had shifted. Murmurs of disapproval began to ripple through the onlookers. "Disrespectful," an elderly man said, shaking his head. "She crossed the line, literally and figuratively." "Leave him alone!" a voice shouted from the crowd. Others joined in, their disdain for the woman's behavior growing louder. The tourist, suddenly aware of the tide turning against her, tried to laugh it off. But the guard, still covered in dignity, took one deliberate step forward and in a low, commanding voice said, "Ma'am, please step back. This is not a stage for your amusement." The crowd erupted in applause, the guard's calm words carrying more weight than any outburst could have. Palace security approached swiftly, escorting the woman away as she sputtered protests about her rights as a tourist. The crowd cheered as she was led out, her arrogance replaced by humiliation. Videos of the incident quickly went viral. Social media was ablaze with praise for the guard's professionalism and dignity. She thought she could humiliate him, but he didn't even need to move to put her in her place. Respect isn't optional. Kudos to the guard for staying classy. Later, the guard's superior approached him with a nod of approval. "You handled that with honor," he said. Back at his post, the guard resumed his stoic stance. A little girl approached with a bouquet of flowers and handed them to him shyly. Without breaking protocol, he gave her the slightest nod, a gesture that melted the hearts of those watching. That day was a lesson for all. Tradition is not a relic to be mocked, but a legacy to be respected. As the crowd dispersed, the stories they carried home weren't just about Buckingham Palace, but about the silent power of dignity in the face of arrogance.